Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I was talking with a buddy of mine at the gym. He's a lot younger than me. Probably young enough to be my son, mid-20s. He might be in his late 20s, but we're talking about women, relationships, dating, courtship, all these types of ideas. And he was telling me how frustrated he was that he doesn't have a girlfriend and how lonely he feels. I asked him, are you looking to settle down? Are you looking to get married? Or, what's your trip? And he said, he would just think that he would be happy if he could be dating. And he doesn't feel very successful with women. He's had girlfriends before, but not many. One, maybe, or two. Who knows if those, I don't know the guy very well, so who knows if those relationships were actually real relationships. But he feels hopeless and he doesn't really feel successful talking to women or getting their attention, being attractive to them. Wonders if something's wrong with him. So we were just chatting about it, and I said, well, that is a dilemma. First of all, for me, it's important to be clear with myself and with the world of what my intentions are. So if I'm just looking for hookups, if I'm just lonely and I'm tired of the five fingers, tired of doing it to myself, of masturbation, and I just want to get some pussy, right? Because that's some people's motivations, get laid. I don't know what to tell you if that's all your motivation is. I gave up one-night stands a long time ago. I kind of outgrew them. At the time, I felt like that, and I honestly felt like the way I rationalized it to myself was that I wasn't mature enough for one-night stands, although looking back on it as a 50-year-old man, I think that I was more mature than a lot of my friends on the topic. I've always been somewhat of a traditionalist. I value the idea of love between a man and a woman in a relationship. I think that sex, as fun as it can be and as buck wild and crazy as it can be with random people, I feel like that it is intended for as an expression of love with your significant other, how much you care for them. It's a gift that you give to them, so you're not trying to just get your rocks off, whereas you're trying to get their rocks off. You're trying to make them feel good. So that's mutual. You both come together, you and your wife, you and your old lady, and you make each other feel good. When you're single and you're just hunting for pussy, you just want to get a piece of ass because you're tired of jacking off, you're still just masturbating. You're just masturbating inside someone's pussy. You're doing it for a self-serving, I want to get my rocks off. I want to come. I want that feeling. I want that sense of validation, that sense of intimacy, love. It's beta. It's weakness. It's a childlike validation that you're seeking. You can fill that need by validating yourself. And I'm not just talking about jacking off. I'm talking about self-love, self-care, self-respect. Building virtue, working on your values. Stop chasing pleasure so much. Stop using vice so much. Masturbation is just a vice. Chicks can be just a vice. Going to strip clubs can be a vice. Going to prostitutes can be a vice. Going to bars, hunting pussy with your buddies on a Friday night. Not only is the alcohol a vice, but the activity can be a vice. Just a big distraction. Chasing that pleasure, so you don't have to experience any pain or any suffering, so you don't have to experience loneliness. Have you ever gotten yourself into a relationship just because you were lonely? That's it. I hate being alone. I hate sitting around watching TV alone, making dinner alone, going to bed alone. So I found a girlfriend. And what happens in that relationship? Frustration. Discontent. Those types of relationships are 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year. There's no real love in it. You may say the words, but it's not real. Those are the types of relationships with resentments. You don't really truly respect the other person because you're not really giving anything to them. You're just taking. You're a vampire. It's self-serving. So, I'm talking to my friend about intentions. You got to be clear in your intentions. What are your intentions? Are your intentions to be in a courtship? Or are your intentions just to be dating? And what's the difference? Dating is basically just getting pussy, right? I don't really know what I want. I just want to date. Keep my options open. These are the types of things you say. People use youth. They use all kinds of excuses. I'm just out of a relationship, so I have to go through a period of just fucking around. They say, I just want to have a good time. These are people who are confused. Never get into a relationship with somebody who doesn't know exactly what they want. And that also means that you have to sit down and figure it out. What is it that you want? If you're experiencing loneliness, most likely what it is that you're seeking is validation. You can give that to yourself. Loneliness is an affliction. It's a negative response to a situation. You don't have to be lonely. Not everybody gets lonely. I hate to break it to you. Some people are perfectly content being alone. Some people look forward to being alone. Some people cherish their alone time. They look at it as time to work on themselves, to experience solitude, quietness. We live in Babylon with all the noises. I used to love my escapes to get away from people when I lived in Los Angeles. It's not as important to me now because I live in a small town where it's very quiet. But when I lived in LA, in the belly of the beast with the helicopters above, the car alarms and sirens going off, the noise of just the city. I lived in between the 10 and the 405. I'm talking, you could see both of them. Got the rush of traffic just going all the time. People chattering, talking. Motherfuckers never shut up. They just talk to fill the fucking empty space. I would try to find places to go and ways to be alone just to hear the nothingness for a little bit so I could fucking let myself think. That true voice, the inner me could finally be heard over all the bullshit. You need to look at being alone in a different way. Loneliness is weakness. It's you just, that baby in you, child in you, wishing that you could be held and coddled. So it's time to grow up. You got to be clear on what your intentions are. You got to be laser focused in on a goal in order to achieve it. Break it down incrementally. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then I should start seeing some results. The difference between dating and courtship is that courtship is intended, it's like dating towards marriage. You're getting to know somebody with a intention behind it. And it's not just to keep it open. It's not just to, I'm just, going through a transition and exploring my options, keeping my options open. That's not courtship. So it's really just, you can think of dating and courtship as almost the same thing. Well, isn't that dating is similar to court? We're talking semantics. But it's important to understand the definition of words, and it's important to have the proper outlook when we're going towards our goals. Think about what your intentions are. Do you want to get married someday? When I asked the kid at the gym this, he said, yes, of course, I would love to get married someday. So it sounds to me that you're ready for a courtship and that the dating is what's frustrating you. That not knowing where the relationship is going, not knowing what your own intentions are, just kind of flying blindly. have a really intensely intimate experience with a chick, making love, having sex, and you don't even know if you're going to marry her. You don't even know where this relationship is going. Of course that would be anxiety inducing. How do you settle in with that? How do you feel comfortable and stable with that? So I promote a courtship, which has a goal. And we're going to seal this relationship with a bond, a long-lasting, lifelong bond with companionship. So that's a little bit different. You're not just checking out her ass and wondering what that would look like spread out on your bed. You're trying to get inside her mind and see what's going on in there. Seeing if you can make each other better people. Right? So, I hope that some of this talk has been helpful. I know my buddy might be watching this. He watches my channel. Some of it's probably stuff that we already went over at the gym today when we talked. But I encourage you to sit down and really think about where your focus is. You want to just get some piece of ass, you just want to date willy-nilly and just go from chick to chick until maybe eventually 5-10 years down the road you decide to settle on someone? Or are you looking for a high-valued woman? Are you hunting for a high-valued target? In which case, you need to be a high-valued man. Don't chase women. Don't ever chase women. You chase who you are. Build yourself. Let women chase you. An alpha lets women chase them. The alpha of the pack isn't trying to do favors for chicks. Chicks are naturally gravitating towards him because he's a dominant, high-valued male. Good shape, smart, slick, swift. You got all the qualities that you're working on, well-rounded. Stop going to bars on Friday nights. Chicken hawking, that's what we used to call it. It's a waste of time. That's what suckers do. It's beta bullshit. And if you're experiencing loneliness, it's a validation issue. Anytime you experience a weakness, thoughts that make you feel weak, emotions that you feel weak, this is something that's going on inside of you. And that's a perfect opportunity to strengthen yourself even more. Don't feel sorry that you are feeling lonely. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just realize I got work to do. You're a warrior. Warriors aren't scared of work. Thanks for watching.